Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Taylor Field, and I am here. Yes, solo review. It's been a long time. Oh my god. Hellboy. That's what we're talking about. Has come out, and I'm here to give you the non spoilers to start us off, and then spoilers follow right after. Now, a little brief dive into the history and my personal experience with Hellboy. I've watched the first ones, Hellboy 1, Golden Army, and they're like guilty pleasures. I really enjoy them. The first one my dad actually showed me, and I was very young. I was a young wolf at the time, and it was a great experience. It was an eye opener, and it opened doors for me into the superhero world. Then I got older and I realized, this is a movie that may not actually get a sequel. And that was hard for me to come to terms with, but you know what? It got a sequel, The Golden Army. And I remember I was like, Dad, let's go. And we're like, okay, we're going. And we went to the theater and we saw it and it was good. It was a great time. I think I saw it twice in theaters, actually. Well, yeah. But I enjoyed seeing it with my dad. It was awesome. And I so badly hoped so much for a third one, just to complete that trilogy. Really liked Ron Perlman. He was just so fantastic as Hellboy. I loved Abe Sapien. I loved all the characters, but yeah, just the first one was fantastic, opened that door for me, and the second one just continued on that track. Really enjoyed both movies, and it's hard to believe that it's been 10 years actually since the first one, and as Travis says, it'll be 10 years before we see another one. But this movie, I was super excited for it, and I actually forgot though that it was out this week. But I got my tickets right away. Like this month is like loaded, unbelievable. We got Avengers coming out this month, which is a huge thing because. As far as superhero movies go, why would you release a superhero movie in the same month as Avengers Endgame? It just kind of like blows my mind a little bit. But I mean, I'm not gonna judge. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and if you feel like superhero suicide is the way to go, then superhero suicide. But the movie itself, watched it. Theater was pretty packed. Some good laughs, so that's good. And yeah, non spoilers. It was all over the place. I felt, that where, as my girlfriend put it, just when you're landing your feet and stepping into this one area, you're already jumping into the next. And it was very well put. It's just that's how it felt, and I feel like the movie started off strong, and then it started to get a little wobbly as it progressed. That being said, I was on the back of that Jeep, and we were hitting every single pothole. As a driver, you can avoid those potholes, or you can hit them, and we were hitting every single one. But I was there for the ride, the entire ride, and I was hitting every single bump. And not that I didn't enjoy it. Not every bump is a bad bump, and these bumps were, they were bumping me the right way, but there was just a lot of them. I really got a kick out of all the jokes and the puns. That's another thing for me. Hellboy is a lot of innocent humor, and I'm a big fan of Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. I love that innocent humor kind of thing where it's not forced, and Hellboy is a lot of that. He's not dumb. He's not like clueless or anything. He's innocent, and he's just got this kind of, it's a very charismatic kind of feature to him or whatever. It just makes him unique from other characters and other heroes. He's a demonic creature from hell, but he's just so, he's the complete opposite of what you would think someone like that would act. You watch movies like The Conjuring and stuff, and you think, these creatures are fucking whacked, excuse the language, and Hellboy's just innocent. So that's a huge thing for me, and I think David Harbour did a great job, with that throughout this movie. Many of the other characters, I thought they were great. I thought, this movie is rated R. Yes, it is, and it's very well deserving. So when I jump into the spoilers, there's one part I'm gonna dissect. Oh God, oh. Ooh, yeah, it's at least three oohs, and it's brutal. So, that being said, I don't think I have anything else left to really say in the non-spoilers. Just that it's well deserving of an R-rated title. The swearing can be a bit excessive and brutal in some movies, but I think that David Harbour did a great job with just the moments and stuff, and combining it with his innocent humor and his kind of his charismatic way. But yeah, the movie itself, not too bad. A lot of points that could be fixed on, but definitely something that is worth checking out. So now you can either pause it, go watch the movie, then you can come back, which is fantastic because I'm going to go into spoilers now, or you can be like, fuck it, I'm going to listen to the spoilers anyways and not see the movie, which, if you're going to do that, by all means. So, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so the movie basically starts off, I was expecting it to be, Hellboy's intro, like as a kid when he comes into the world, kind of like the first Hellboy, but definitely not that. It just dives right in where he's trying to find his friend, who's obviously become a vampire now, which was an absolute hoot in a hat of a time. Him turning into a vampire was crazy. It caught me off guard how out in the open Hellboy was. That was another thing, but right from the start, when he's breaking his iPhone, it just made me kind of chuckle and laugh because it's just like, this is classic Hellboy. 110%. But other than that, as it moved along, he had to fight his vampire friend, which is a bit wild, and then you get to see him kind of get commissioned out to... he gets commissioned out to Britain because apparently the Bureau of Paranormal Research has a kind of like a... not like the equivalent to like a sister store, I guess, as you could say, kind of out there, and it's these Osiris Club or something like that. And it's kind of like these British people that defend Britain from monsters and everything, and they're like, we got 3 trolls we need help with, gotta help us out. And Hellboy's like, yeah, okay. So they're like getting together, like, yeah, we're gonna get together for the hunt and everything like that. They're treating it like a game, and I love their gear. They were wearing these face masks, and they had these like gowns, like tabards, and some medieval armor looking things, and they had these like metal lances with a lightning backpacks on them that charges up the lances. It was so cool. Oh, I loved it. And they look sick. So after they geared up, their leader, he wore this big this big deer head with antlers, and I thought, wow, you're hunting these giants, and this is what you're wearing? This is nuts. But he's like, yeah, since I'm in charge of the hunt, this is what I'll be wearing, because you're not fond of wearing headpieces. And Hellboy's like, yeah. So they go out for the hunt, and this completely caught me off guard. They're tracking the giants, and you can obviously see their handiwork, and it's just very gory. But the thing that completely caught me off guard was when they stabbed Hellboy in the back. And I'm not saying, like, they stabbed him in the back, but they actually literally took their weapon and stabbed him in the back. And it made me jump. It caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, what? And then they're like, they kept stabbing Hellboy, like, jab, jab. I counted at least probably like 6 stabs, thinking, how is Hellboy doing this? And he went unconscious and fell in the water, and then the giants came, and the giants totally massacred these guys who were supposedly experts on killing giants. They got destroyed. So the giants, yeah, they came in, and the whole fight sequence, with Hellboy and the giants, I loved it so much. I was looking forward to this ever since I saw it in the trailers. I love Hellboy fight scenes. It's so exaggerated, and he gets bruised and battered around, but it's great. I have no problem with that, and it was so much fun. And he was just annihilating these trolls, like, when he stabs one in the eye and jumps, or giants, not trolls, stabs one in the eye, jumps on top of it, swinging around, the one giant comes down and kills the other giant, and like, oh my god, it's just so gory and everything, but it's so funny. And I love David Harbour's, reactions and how he's talking to them and moping and stuff. But yeah, he kills all 3 of them, then he gets rescued by one of his friends, apparently, and after he's rescued, he gets, brought up, and his dad comes in, saves him, and then they realized that the Mila Jovovich, who is an amazing actress, love her in Resident Evil, fan-freaking-tastic. But she's an evil sorceress. She's come back, and yeah, she was trying to kill the world, but King Arthur killed her with the help of Merlin, saved the world, and divided up her body parts because she was still kicking. So yeah, her body parts are all divided, but now she is coming back because the Ninja Turtles looking villain has come to save her and collect all her body parts and rebuild her. Yeah, and this is, mind you, this is all after, we kind of get to see a glimpse at how Hellboy came into the picture, and we obviously, when Hellboy was at the Osiris Club before he went giant hunting, they had a seer there that actually showed Hellboy a vision of his appearance, and obviously you get to see a lot of familiar characters from the first original Hellboy. You get to see Rasputin, you get to see Hitler's top assassin, you get to see all these figures, and they even introduced this one guy called, what was his name? The Lobster Claw Man or whatever. He was like some badass Captain America guy. Like, and he hopped on, he was so noble, and he was shooting these Nazis and going at them. Like, I would love a Captain America Lobster Claw Man team up buddy cop movie. This needs to happen. These guys, like, I'm just feeling like, ooh, like the nobility and the honor and the patriotism flowing through them. I want that. I want that movie. Bring it. Bring them both on. Put it on Disney Plus. I want Lobster Claw Man and Captain America team up. So, needless to say, that's where Hellboy comes in the picture. If you've seen the original Hellboy, you know how it works. They do the ceremony, something comes through. So, yeah, this Mila Jovovich witch lady is, come back, and she's like, Hellboy, you're gonna be my king. You are good, and I am evil, and, you're full of all this stuff that, I need to be with, so we're gonna be a thing. And that's one of my favorite lines, actually, in the movie, is she's like, we'd be perfect together. And Hellboy's like, well, we're just not going to work because I'm a Capricorn and you're fucking nuts. It's just those kind of stuff that it makes me laugh. It's so funny. But that was his second encounter with her. But the first encounter in person, actually, but how he got to that point was he actually got summoned by this this demon chick, and this demon chick was actually mentioned. I first heard of her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man's partner, who's Russian, talks about Baba Yaga, and some witch that steals children and stuff like that. Truly terrifying. I think it was Baba Yaga. I'm like 98% sure it was Baba Yaga. It was either Baba Ganoush or Baba something. It had Baba in it. But I'm pretty sure it's Baba Yaga after I've seen Hellboy now. So, yeah, it's Hellboy got summoned by Baba Yaga, who's like wanting to make a deal with him, and Baba Yaga's walking in some house with legs, and she's very ugly. Now, me personally, things like in The Exorcist, when you're doing the backwards crab walk, I can't handle it. Like, it makes me cringe, and it freaks the shit out of me, because if something's coming down the hallway in the middle of the night, and it's doing the crab walk upside down, then I'm out. Like, I'm done. I am done. I am up the wall. I am on the ceiling. I'm gone. No way. And so Baba Yaga was doing it, and she didn't even have feet. She had wooden peg legs. And she comes crawling out of this crypt, and she's talking to Hellboy, trying to be all sweet and flirty and stuff. I'm thinking, this is gross. She looks like she's 90-something years old. And her, I'm sure at one point she was a very, pretty young woman. But in this case, no. She was gross. I'm not a fan, of her peg legs. It was freaky. And she was crawling on her back and stuff like that, doing the crab walk. And I don't even know, like, her body was just gross. Her chest was all like hollow at parts and stuff like that. And her cleavage area, they really exaggerated the the saggy decrepitness of it, like when she was like leaning over like towards Hellboy and stuff, which was really awkward. And yeah, and I feel like I could feel as awkward as Hellboy was in that moment. And yeah, so she was all like, she's like, "Yo, I got a spread for you. Oh, I got all this food." And Hellboy goes in and he's like, "What are we eating?" He lifts up the pot lid and you see these little baby hands in the pot, which is disgusting. And then he like leans over and around the corner and sees these hanging kids dead. And Baba Yaga like goes up and he's like, "Eat, eat," and he's like whacks the bowl and like, "Sorry, oh, I'm so clumsy, oops." And then she's like, "Make a deal with me, I can help you." And Hellboy is like, "Yeah, where's Mila Jovovich hiding out?" And she's like, "Give me your eye because you shot my eye out. If you give me one of yours, I'll help you get her. I'll tell you where she is." And he's like, "Okay, fine, what do we gotta do?" And she's like, "Well, we're gonna make a sacred promise. Kiss on it." And she like licks her lips. And then he just stands there and he doesn't kiss her. He just kind of like, and then she goes in and is like, "Oh, you see the slime all over his lips, which is gross." And then she pulls away and you see this huge long stretch of spit all over his lips. It was so gross. Oh, and oh god, yeah. So he ends up like making a threat to break the promise that she couldn't have his eye right away, and she lost it. She went full crab walk mode, and I'm talking, there's like a quarter crab walk mode, there's 50% crab walk mode, 75, which is scary enough, and usually most movies they got the 75% crab walk mode. She went full fucking 150% crab walk mode, and she whipped out fucking claws for hands. It was wild, and it freaked me out. It was absolutely nuts. And the peg legs, again, the damn peg legs. Oh my god, I'm telling you, those were terrifying. Needless to say, she obviously got bested because Hellboy is Hellboy, and she put a curse on him saying he has to watch someone that he loves get killed or die in front of him. And obviously that's a foreshadowing for what's going to happen. So he manages to, get away from her, though, and he carries on his journey to find Mila Jovovich, and he does just that. And this is again where the movie is jumping around from point to point quite a bit. It's super fast, and as much as that's a shame, I understood. I feel like they could have made the movie a little bit longer, but in doing so, to kind of bridge the gaps between everything, it would have exhausted it and felt like this was longer than it needed to be. But they had a lot that they threw into this film. So obviously Hellboy is continuing on to find Mila Jovovich, and on his expedition out there, his father gets attacked, kidnapped, but that all happens while he actually goes to Merlin. He finds this cave where he gets told to go there by one of the witches who served Mila Jovovich. But the witch is plays one small minor role in there, and then that's it. They don't highlight or go back to her at all. There were so many things in this movie that they just threw in there, and then they never explained or went back to, which kind of left me hanging like, what? But, they just carried on. So, yeah, he ended up meeting Merlin, and Merlin was like, "Okay, you, excusez-moi, you are the descendant of Merlin. Merlin had a daughter, and then that daughter had another daughter, and that daughter was a daughter of the daughter of Merlin, who fell in love with a demon." And this was getting super crazy. So she fell in love with the demon, and then got pregnant with the demon, and then had a baby, and then she was brought to hell, and then she gave birth to Hellboy. And that's it. And then they just drop Hellboy's name in there, which I never knew what Hellboy's name was, but that's what happened. So Hellboy is related. He's half human and he's half demon, and he's related to King Arthur. So how about that? And Merlin popped up Excalibur and was like, "Yo, the sword, only you can wield it, so grab it and you can use it to kill what's her pickle, Mila Jovovich. And so he went to grab the sword and he got this vision. And now this is where I want a Hellboy video game. I know there's an old one on the Xbox, but I want a new modern one because in this new like climactic sequence that they pop in when Hellboy grabs Excalibur, he's riding on the back of this giant dragon, and this is apart from the trailer, but he's riding it, and you see all these giant demons walking around on a destroyed, hell-blazed Earth, and you see all these hordes of rebel humans or whatever running around, and Hellboy like runs off the back of his dragon. He's got his horns out, he's got the flame crown, he's got his Excalibur on fire, and he jumps down into the group of humans, smashing them, and he starts swinging, and it is so good. It was fantastic, and I would love a game like this. It's just so freaking amazing. There's so much potential. But yeah, he's just swinging away, and then he like lets go of Excalibur in the real world because he's like, whoa, this vision is big tripping. So Berlin's like, I used the last of my magic to bring Excalibur here, and now I'm gonna die, and he dies. So there's that major plot hole left in the dust. And so Hellboy continues on and finds out his father is captured, and so they go to this church area where they're gonna confront Mila Jovovich, and he's gonna try and get his father back. But as he's there, Mila Jovovich like kicks the shit out of him, and they find, oh, what happens to be underneath the church? Excalibur and the chair of King Arthur, where King Arthur is all bones and stuff. So she kills Hellboy's father, and Hellboy is like, rah, and grabs Excalibur, and as he grabs it, his horns come out, he gets a fire crown. So I don't understand why, if Excalibur was a good weapon and it was used at the beginning of the movie to kill Mila Jovovich the first time by King Arthur, why it was, such a hellfire weapon and was meant to bring about the end of the world with Hellboy. It kind of baffles me, but because as soon as he grabbed it, portals started opening and demons started coming out, some wild demons. Oh boy, these tall giant dudes that were like splitting humans in half. This is where the R-rated rating kicked in, well deserving, like a long time ago, but it for sure definitely, carried on throughout this scene of the movie with all these demons stepping on people and splitting people in half and exploding people. Oh, good God. So he gets Excalibur and he goes full God mode, and Mila Jovovich is like, my king, my lord, we're gonna be together, you, me, let's do it. And he ends up speaking to a spirit version of his father, who comes back to life for a brief bit. And I'm glad, because I was worried when Hellboy's dad got killed. I was like, wow, what a depressing and underwhelming death. There's no closure there whatsoever. But when the dad came back, they had a really good sequence that just ended that story and really added a lot more to Hellboy's character. And Hellboy ends up taking Excalibur and cutting the head off of Mila Jovovich. It was fantastic. And he plants Excalibur back into the ground and leaves it there, and then the portals start to close up and the demons get dragged back into hell, and Hellboy's walking and he's holding Mila Jovovich's head, and Mila Jovovich is like, you can't deny me this, on the last day of the apocalypse we will be together and we will conquer the world together and reshape it. And Hellboy's like, you should quit while you're ahead. And he throws her head into the pit where hell is. Like, oh, that's so good. What a great liner. Just holding this head and like, you should quit while you're ahead. Oh, that made the movie ticket worth the price right there. That was so good. I'm a man for a good pun. And so yeah, she was defeated, and he has a good closure moment with his dad, who's dead. And then that was pretty much it. It literally ended right there. And yeah, it jumped 6 months ahead. And he's in Serbia with his team, and he's taking on these scientist guys. And it was an awesome fight sequence. Loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. And they get to the end of the fight sequence, and they see this, like, as soon as I saw the water tank, I knew exactly what they were going for. And yeah, just like they were going, yeah, it's like Sapien on the tank, and like they were like, "What is this?" And then you see Ape Sapien's hand pop up on the tank, which is super cool. So I loved all those, awesome kind of just callbacks, and those kind of like nods to Hellboy. And I that's one of the things, like the reasons I love the first Hellboy movie is because of all these characters and all these things they had in there. And Ape Sapien is one of my favorite characters for Hellboy. I love him. But yeah, this time around, like in this movie, the speaking to the dead girl, she was pretty cool, but it's just as a companion, definitely not a strong companion. And I guess there was the other guy. I can't remember his name, but he turned into a crazy cheetah, and he was kind of interesting as a character. He throughout the movie, he gave out the impression he was going to actually kill Hellboy. He had the church invent some super holy blessed liquid in a bullet, and he was going to use it to kill Hellboy. He was talking shit like, he has to either shoot Hellboy in the heart or in the head, and he's like, I'll aim for the heart because his brain's too small to hit him in the head. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. This guy's got a lot of issues, and but other than that, Hellboy's father, Ian McCain, he was, great as always. Very much enjoy. Was it Ian McCain? You know what? Why can't I remember his name all of a sudden? Well, I'm gonna Google that. So yeah, I think his father was super, super well done. The actor definitely delivered. It was very much different from the original Hellboy because in the original Hellboy, he was very much like a calm and collected and, very positive, force in Hellboy's life. And Ian McShane, not Ian McCain, Jesus! So, Ian McShane, yeah, he was, in this movie, he was very opposite of how the father was in the other Hellboy movie, he was very much like, oh, grow a pair, drop the bullshit, stand up for yourself, you're a fucking man, and it worked, with how David Harbour's Hellboy was, it was very fitting, and I didn't mind it. I thought, it goes along well with what they were going for this time around. And as opposed to the other Hellboy being not so much R-rated, but more driven on story and character development, it was cool to see this one be very much horror-based with lots of comedy sprinkled in there. There was a lot of jump horror scenes in this movie, and they worked. They got me jumping, and like when they were in the woods and the gross like dead zombie women were coming up out of the ground, freaked the hell out of me, and they're shooting them and stuff like that. But there were just so many holes in this movie that just they need to be filled. All these potholes you gotta fill up, get some shovel in some stuff into those potholes, because these cars are driving over them, and then it's hurting, it's breaking. And that being said, not all the potholes were bad for me. I was in there for the long haul, and it wasn't bad. It definitely felt like a short movie, but there was a lot of things that they could have taken out and tweaked, because it was point A to point B, and it shouldn't have been like that. It should have been point A, point 2, point A, point 3, then B. They not. Maybe a better example would be it was point A to point D, and they needed to fulfill, point B and C, in between, to make a better, stronger story. That's what I meant to say. So, that being said, this movie is not something I will see again in theaters, even though, yes, my dad and me are big fans of Hellboy, and I did not see it with him on opening night. This is something that I do plan on seeing with him when it drops on Netflix, which I probably assume it will at some point. I definitely, if there is a 6 steel case for this movie, I would be tempted to buy it, because there's a lot of really good, promotional arts that have been put out for this movie. Like the thumbnail, for example. I really like the art for the thumbnail, but if there's a sick steel case with that kind of art on it, ooh, when you get that 4K DVD, Blu-ray, digital copy, I'm all about the digital copy. And if that's in there, I could be persuaded to possibly drop maybe like a $5 or maybe like a $9 on it, and get a Black Friday, Boxing Day deal. I could be in tune for that. But yeah, it's something I definitely do plan on watching again. But not this month, because this month we have a lot of movies. Next week, me and Travis are going to be reviewing El La Llorona, which is a sequel of the Conjuring universe, which is that babysitter Spanish ghost school, which is going to be absolutely terrifying. The week after that, Avengers Endgame, which is going to be so good. And then once May rolls around, we got a whole bunch of stuff. We got Aladdin, I believe, is in May, and we got Detective Pikachu, and then we got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Other than that, we have Gauntlet Season 3 that is kicked back up, which is great. We have so much more content. Clone Wars Retro is kicking off literally this weekend. If you're listening to this right now, we have Star Wars Celebration. So we have podcasts coming out to cover the Star Wars trailer, well, I shouldn't specifically say Star Wars trailer, I should say Star Wars in general. We will have coverage for it. Also, make sure you check out our Facebook, because currently our newest poll is Game of Thrones. And now, the last one we did was DC, and believe it or not, the Joker won. Heath Ledger's Joker, mind you, which, he deserved it. Fought over all the other DC cinematic characters, but Joker took the win. So currently in the Hall of Fame, we got Thor, Obi-Wan, and Joker, and now we got Game of Thrones. So be sure to hop on there, because it just started, and, get your vote in. Poll changes every day at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But other than that, yeah, there's so much more content. I should give my rating for this movie. Hellboy, I will give a solid 6.5 out of 10. That is what I would give it. And, it's definitely, you could see it on Cheap Tuesday. I would back you up on that. I would plant my feet behind you, and I would rub your shoulders and be like, you know what, you can feel good about this decision of buying a Cheap Tuesday ticket for Hellboy. Yeah, so until next time, we'll see you in the search bar. Have a good one.